a sample problem. So let's say that I want to print out Fibonacci numbers. So what were Fibonacci numbers? Fibonacci numbers were given that we have the starting values of 0 and 1. Each time we would generate the next number by adding the previous two numbers. So 0 and 1, the next number becomes 1. For 0, 1, 1, the next number becomes 2. 0, 1, 1, 2, we add the previous two numbers of 2 and 1, we get 3 and 5 and 8 and 13 and so on. Right, so everyone remembers the Fibonacci sequence, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how would we write the code for that? The code is, the normal traditional way of writing this code would be, we have the starting value of T1 equals 0, the starting value of T2 equals 1. And then we are basically printing out 0 and 1 first, and then in a loop, we keep on computing the next term, which is T1 plus T2. We print out the next term, that is 1, and we set the previous and the current previous and the previous values, right? So we update T1 to T2 and T2 to the next term. So just shifting T1 and T2 each time to the next pair of numbers, and we keep on printing out the next term over and over again. Now, if we wanted, so this would be a program to print out Fibonacci numbers. If we wanted to write this as a function, we can just take this part of that entire code, put it in a function, and then we can name it as print n Fibonacci numbers, where we take n as a parameter, and then we can just call this function as print n Fibonacci with the number n, some number n. It basically does the same thing, but as a separate function. Okay. Now, let's talk about the recursive definition of the Fibonacci sequence. So if we wanted to break this problem down into its smaller components, so let's say, let's take it, forget about printing all Fibonacci numbers. Let's say that I want to write this function that gives me a fib of n, that gives me the nth Fibonacci number. How would I write it in this function math form? I can just call it recursively as the nth Fibonacci number is the n minus first Fibonacci number plus the n minus second Fibonacci number, right? So would that be a recursive definition of Fibonacci numbers? Guys?
I don't know.
Because so what is the Fibonacci number? Fibonacci number says, given, let's say that we want to say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yes, then it is.
So the 7th Fibonacci number is the 6th Fibonacci number and the 5th Fibonacci number, right? Some of those two things. So that is basically the recursive definition of Fibonacci sequences. So let's say that we are not going to print out just one Fibonacci number, we are going to print out all Fibonacci numbers. What would the recursive definition look like? So if this was our functional form for Fibonacci sequences, we can say that the recursive version would be something like this. So let's say we call our function as Fibonacci recursive, that takes in 3 arguments. The value of n, the number of Fibonacci numbers we want to print, and the initial values T1 and T2. So we can say that the recursive definition of printing out all Fibonacci numbers or n Fibonacci numbers is print the current Fibonacci number and then print the remaining Fibonacci numbers. Right, so that would be print out the current Fibonacci number, that is T1 plus T2, and then we can call our function again, like, hey, print out the remaining n minus 1 Fibonacci numbers, where your initial numbers are T2 and T1 plus T2, the new updated T1, T2 values. Right. So this would basically call itself again. So that is your recursive definition. The moment you reach n equals to 0, that means that you have printed out n numbers and n has become 0 at this point. So here you have your base case that keeps on returning, and you also have the case where we are inching closer towards our base case, because each time we are calling this function again, we are calling it with n minus 1. So each time if we call it with 5, it gets called with 4, it gets called with 3, 2, 1, and so on. Right? Okay. So
For the base case in that situation, would it have to be the 1 or like the 2? Because like if you had n equals 0, what would your T1 and T2 be?
so remember, we are not when n is 0, we are just saying that, so we keep on printing each time, we are not computing the Fibonacci sequence, right? So when n becomes 0, we just return out and we are not printing anything, or we are not calling anything again either. So once it has returned back, it gets the gets to this point here. Okay, so let's visualize this. Yes. Okay. Okay, so I have this function. So this is basically the same function here. Fibonacci forward recursive takes in n, t1 and t2. If n is less than or equal to 0, it returns, or otherwise it prints out t1 and t2, t1 plus t2, calls itself again with n minus 1, t2 and t1 plus t2, and then prints out a. Okay, so let's call this function and see what goes on. Okay, so we are at this point here where we are going to call our recursive function with the values of n is 5, t1 and t2 is 0 and 1. We have already printed out 0 and 1, so that is why we get the values 0 and 1 here. I have shared my screen, right? Not the. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we are at this particular point here. Notice the arrow here. So we are at this particular point here, and now let's see what goes on. So we are calling this function and we are at this point here. At this point, it has already printed out 0 and 1, but now n is 5. You can see n is 5, t1 is 0, and t2 is 1. So we check if n is less than 0. It's not. We print out the value of t1 plus t2, so it prints out 1, and then it calls itself again. At this point here,
How did you enable that? Or what did you do? So you can get it.
To step through the code.
Yes. Like before it keeps going, like you're able to see those steps.
Okay, so this is called debugging. So in Visual Studio, you can just, you see this gray section on the left-hand side. You can click on a line number here, left click on a line number here, and it will give you a red dot, right? So this red dot means that your program would execute until that red dot and stop. At that point, you can then step through the code using, so at that point, these buttons pop up. These buttons are basically stop, debugging, or restart it, but mainly you have step into or step over, so you can step through the code step by step.
Okay.
And apart from that, if you want at any point in time to see what a variable value is, you can hover over that variable and you will see that it gives you T1, the current value is 1, right? So at this point, you would also see there is a pin here. If I press that, it would just give you an updated box with the variable value here.
Okay, I see.
Okay. So it has called this function now with n equals to 4, and where t1 and t2 are now 1 and 1. So again, it checks n is not less than 0, prints out t1 plus t2, so it would print out 2, and then it would call again with n minus 1, t2 and t1 plus t2. So it calls it. So n now is 3, t1 and t2 are 1 and 2. Compare it again, print it out again, calls it out, calls it back again, right? So now with n equals to 2. At n equals to 2, we have t1 is 2 and t2 is 3, because those are the previous two values. Still the base case has not been reached, prints out 5, calls it again, we have n equals 1, prints out 8, calls it again, and now t1 is 5 and t2 is 8. But the base case is now satisfied. So where it would now go to this return statement here. So once we have reached this return statement, I now want you guys to tell me where would I come here. After this return statement, given this code, which line number am I going to go to?
13.
Why 13? 13 is just one more function call, right? I will either, so I have called this function from main here. So I should actually technically go to here, it is 31, or I should go somewhere inside this function. Where would it go to? Once it has reached this return point here, it will go back to the function that has called it, right? What function has called this particular instance?
Would it be line 9 called it, so it would go to line 10?
Yes, because the Fibonacci forward recursive was the function itself that called this function, right? So it would return back to this particular point here, where it has printed out, where it will print out A, right? So it comes back here and prints out A, right? And note that at this point here, our n, t1 and t2 values are the previous values. So 1, 3, and 5. Okay, the values that we use to call to get the value of 8. Okay, so now it has come to the end of this function. Now it can return in general, right? Because it has done calling this function recursively. That recursive call has reached its endpoint, and now it is just coming back level by level. So at this point, it will again, after I've returned from here, it will again return to line number 10 or line number 9, right? With the values 2, 2, and 3, prints out A, then comes back out again with the values of 3, 1, and 2, which were the previous values, comes back out, prints out A, comes back out, prints out A, comes back out, prints out A, and I'll do this